Take two.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming to the Village of Holly's Planning Commission meeting here for September the 25th, 2024. As we get
If you wouldn't mind, I'd just like to take a moment before we get the meeting started, pay our respects to Mr. Bill DeSessa. He's been a long-standing member on this planning commission, been involved in many community projects, and he unfortunately passed unexpectedly. And we haven't had a chance to meet together as a group and just pay a little bit of respect to him. I would open it up to you and any of the other individuals on the board if they would like to just spend a minute or two, not a lot of time, but just say something nice and pay our respects to that individual. He was a fine gentleman. Him and I had many, many conversations, and he's going to be greatly missed.
all right, does anybody like to say anything?
I will. Bill was my buddy. We had coffee every morning together at the coffee shop, and he passed away on May 26th of this year, 2024. Just keep his wife Jane and his son Bill in your thoughts or prayers, whichever one that you do. And he will be missed. He is missed very sorely.
I was just getting to know Bill DeSessa, and I am fortunate to have logged on my computer his plan for a circle trail around Holly Township that would link all of our parks and our village and all of our resources. And so I look forward to the day that comes that there's a group of people who really want to actually have some trails in Holly, and we've got a marvelous place to start. Thank you, Bill.
And like Sherilyn, I was just got to know Bill too, and I look back at one conversation we had. He's like, "I think I'm going to run for township trustee." He's like, "But when you won't vote for DeSessa?" And I'm like, "It's not that weird of a name." And as Mr. Watson said, he is Mr. Holly. He does everything, so he is going to be missed.
Richard?
Yep, I remember how he attended many planning and training meetings to know how to do whatever role he was in exceptionally well, and not only had that knowledge, but then brought it back to us many times so that we could initiate the capital improvement plan process even, so.
Yes, he will be greatly missed. His knowledge, he had so much knowledge, and that is one of the big things that was so important. And he will be missed.
I didn't know him well. Super engaged. He's always very friendly. He was always, on top of everything. He always had questions and was looking for solutions and just always there. He was an amazing guy from what I did know of him, and he is missed.
Galen, anything?
Yeah, I knew him through this panel, basically, and he was dedicated, innovative, and easy smile, and
Always.
great guy in my book.
Yeah, I guess I'll follow up and also say I only knew him through the commission here. I appreciate all of his thoughts and inputs. I really appreciated his detail to attention, or his attention to detail, and how he did a lot of research and actually investigated many things before he spoke about it, and but also was very open to listening to everybody else's opinion. And so with that said, I really feel that this commission has suffered a great loss by not having him in here as a member of the commission. If we could all bow our heads for a moment of prayer, just silence, I mean. All right, thank you. Bill, you will be missed. If we could go on with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. If we could have roll call, please.
Campbell.
Here.
Christian.
Here.
Lacey.
Here.
Haskell.
Here.
Cross. Wallace,
Here.
Beverly,
Here.
Kinnaman,
Here.
Okonski.
Here. I had a note here to please excuse Kirk Cross, which is a brand-new member, and unfortunately missing his first meeting. So if we could have a motion to excuse Mr. Cross.
So moved.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, so moved. All right, going on to the approval of the agenda for September 25th, 2024.
I make the motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the agenda is approved. Moving on to approval of the minutes way back of May 22nd, 2024.
My lord, there's somebody.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Can I get a volunteer to read the statement of purpose?
I will.
The mission of the Holly Village government is to enhance our community's quality of life. Our organization strives for quality services, responsive action to citizen requests, and a cost-effective government. We promote citizen participation, proactive decision-making, and environmental quality. Most important, we shall always serve the citizens of Holly. The Village of Holly will be a prestigious, historical village that is a green residential oasis from the city and the center of commerce and activity for the region.
Thank you. All right, now we open the meeting up to public comments. These are for items that are not on the agenda, and anything that you may want to bring before the commission, please step up to the microphone and state your name and address. Seeing no one move forward.
mic's on.
Yep.
No one moving forward, we will now move on to item number 7 on the agenda, being public hearing. The first item in the public, or we need a motion to open public hearing.
And my question is, can we do all of them in one motion?
I think we need to do each one individually, I would
I believe we
say so.
should.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to open public hearing for 2024-002, consideration for rezoning from R1A, single-family residential, to C, commercial for the property located at 604 North Saginaw, ID number IH-01-34-101-002.
I second.
All right, roll call, please.
Christian,
Yes.
Lacy,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Cascola,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Kinnaman,
Yes.
Okonski.
Yes. All right, public hearing is now open. Anyone in the public that has any concerns or ideas or thoughts about this recommendation coming before the planning commission, if you would step forward, again, state your name, address to the microphone. All right, no one stepping forward, we need to close that item.
I move that we close the public hearing.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Kayla, you closed it, right? You seconded it?
I can.
second.
I did
I
not.
closed
I second.
You opened it and then.
I seconded.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank
It's
you.
all right. You're good.
Okay. Lacy,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Christian,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
Kinnaman,
Yes.
Cascola,
Yes.
Okonski.
Yes. All right, now we need a motion to open public hearing for the second item.
I make a motion, we open public hearing for item 2024-003, consideration.
No, wait a minute, that's what we just did.
No?
That was 002.
Oh, we closed. All
All right, all three.
right,
Now we do
Sorry.
Consideration for a site plan review for the property located at 15191 North Holly Road, parcel number IH-01-27-151-016.
I'll second.
roll call, please.
Haskala?
Yes.
Campbell?
Yes.
Lacy?
Yes.
Wallace?
Yes.
Everly?
Yes.
Kinnaman?
Yes.
Christian?
Yes.
Okowski?
Yes.
I can hear everybody with the yeses, but in the interim, I'm having trouble hearing if you guys could speak up a little bit.
Thank you.
Okay.
And this is the one that concerns Scooter's Coffee? I'm not sure what y'all are here for.
All right, the item that we just voted on to open for public hearing is the consideration of a site review plan for the property located at 15191 North Holly Road, parcel IH 0127151016. That's the item that's in consideration in the outlot area by Holly Foods. Seeing no one move forward for that?
I move that we close the public hearing on that one. That's this back one.
I second.
Go ahead. Roll call, please.
Kinnaman?
Yes.
Everly?
Yes.
Christian?
Yes.
Campbell?
Yes.
Haskala?
Yes.
Lacy?
Yes.
Wallace?
Yes.
Okowski?
Yes. Last item on public hearing.
One more.
I'd like to make a motion to open the public hearing for 2024-004, consideration for the correction of rezoning from C Commercial to RM Moderate Density Residential for the property located at 815 East Maple, ID number 01-34-251-006, which is also Dylan's Apartments.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Christian?
Yes.
Lacy?
Yes.
Campbell?
Yes.
Haskala?
Yes.
Wallace?
Yes.
Everly?
Yes.
Kinnaman?
Yes.
Okowski?
Yes. Last time, public hearing for the item just so mentioned. This is regarding the property on 815 East Maple. Again, here, seeing no one move forward, we need a motion to close public hearing.
I motion to close the public hearing on the property for 815 East Maple. It's 2024004.
I'll second.
Last roll call.
What does exactly that means when you close it?
That means then you don't come forward to speak regarding any concerns you have on, you were notified about this coming before us, all right? And now you've been given an opportunity to come up and say whether you could say you agree with it, you're 100% for it, or you have reservations and why, and things like that. It just gives you an opportunity to speak your mind if it's something that may affect you, or you just don't think it's the right thing to do.
Well, I would need to know more about what's going to happen at that residence.
If you can come to the mic, that way everybody can hear you, that would be great.
And that's exactly what the public hearing's
Say what?
That's what the public hearing's for.
Oh, okay. So I just needed to know,
State your name and address, please.
Lisa Merrill, 813 East Maple. We're right next door to the apartment building. And I just would need to know more information about what they're going to do because it's alarming.
Mr. Chair, if you don't mind, if I could speak. So what happened here is the zoning map that was published in 2019 has a clerical error, and I will pass this around to all the chairs. But as you can see here, the property is zoned on this map as R1B, which is clearly not what it is supposed to be zoned. In Oakland County tax system, in our BSNA systems, it shows it as residential multifamily, which has been for many, many years. What this is just showing that on this map, we're changing the color from a light green to a dark green. And that's all that is. It really, on this map, was a clerical error. So in order to fix the clerical error, it has to come in front of the Planning Commission to show why we're addressing it tonight. So I will take a moment and I will pass this map around, and you will see where it conflicts with the map that is in your packets.
And the statement you made just now, you talked about changing from R1B to moderate versus commercial to
Yep,
moderate.
and I will clarify that and I will show you as well.
Okay.
And I'm going to grab the corrected one.
Oh, I see.
And this is what you have in your packets. So the property in question here is that square right there. Do you see that?
Right here?
This
Yeah.
square right here. And then you see the little one here to the east, that's dark green? They're supposed to be flip-flopped. So this one right here is supposed to be light green, this one's supposed to be dark green, and it would flow with continuity with this. Do you see that?
Yeah.
So in order for us to be able to change this clerical error on this map,
What is our motion?
we have to bring it in front of the planning commission and have it.
Okay.
Okay. So there's no talk of rebuilding?
There is nothing in front of this commission that
Okay.
shows that.
Thank you.
Yep. Chair, if you wouldn't mind, I would also like to state that there was also a second clerical error in the posting in the paper. As you see in the public hearing, it's a consideration for the correction of a rezoning from C to RM. That C should have been R1.
That's where I'm.
R1B. Okay?
Okay.
So when we get to it in new business, I am going to ask the commission to table it to next month so that we can get the correct posting in the paper and readdress it. But just for everybody that's involved, that's listening at home, here in the audience today, when the map was produced in 2019, it's really just a color shade, is really what happened there. But we don't, as administration, have the authority to just change the colors on the map. We have to bring it to the planning commission, explain what happened, ask for forgiveness, and ask for the planning commission to rezone it. And then we're really not rezoning it, we're correcting the clerical error that was made on the map. But for this evening, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but for this evening, I will ask the commission to table it till next month so that we can republish it in the paper with the correct information. I'd also like to segue a little bit more onto that. When this public hearing went out, we also forgot to include the property to the west. So we also have to include that because as you can see on the map that I just handed out is a dark green and it needs to be flip-flopped. So I apologize on the behalf of administration. We've had some issues with some people out of the office and a lot of people trying to do multiple things. This was a heavy agenda and it slipped by me most importantly, and I apologize for that error. So when we do get to new business, I would ask that it would be tabled till next month so that postponed till next month so that we can readdress it when it's correctly posted in the paper. And just for the folks in the audience, there is no projects in front of us that are looking to tear down or rebuild it and make it anything different. It was strictly a clerical error.
5 years later?
I can tell you that they're selling it, and that's what brought it to our attention. Somebody else is coming in and buying, and wants to buy it.
We need a motion to close still, correct?
We have the motion, we don't have a vote on it yet.
So a public hearing is still open. There's a motion on the table.
Vote for a roll call of the closing of the public hearing.
Lacy?
Yes.
Campbell?
Yes.
Everly?
Yes.
Christian?
Yes.
Wallace? Yes. Kinnaman?
Yes.
Cascola?
Yes.
Walkonski?
Yes. Okey dokey. Moving on to old business discussion of capital improvement process. There was one item in our packet that showed the nominal numbers there. And I did not know if anyone wanted to address that at this time. Okay.
Sure. I've spent a lot of time looking at it and looking at the information that we got from Roll. And And I've been pretty consistent. I think we need more public input on these decisions. And in going through the stuff from Roe, it said what you really should be doing is asking the public to help you set priorities, what's most important to them, and then as we go through these numbers, based on the input from the public, we could at least decide, oh, well, the sidewalks on Grange Hall are more important than the downtown sidewalks, so we'll do those first and then we'll do those second. And we do it with input, not just from the 9 of us who are sitting here. And I know that this administration has an aversion to going to the public for input. So I would like to posit that what we do is we have an invitation and ask all of our commissioners, all of our authorities, all of our park members to be invited to come through a session and help us understand what is important. And I will tell you an example of why. The last time, back in May, when we talked about this capital improvement project, and I said the most important thing downtown was parking and potties, I got shot down that the depot, the $2 million depot, wasn't going to have any bathrooms in it. I talked to Linda Stouffer, who owns Battle Alley Coffee. She's the president of the DDA. And her response to me is, are you kidding me? Bathrooms, we need bathrooms. We need bathrooms downtown and parking second. And I don't really see hardly anywhere on here that we're even talking about that. Parking upgrades to parks. There's still nothing downtown. When we move the depot, goodbye Moose parking. And that's, again, all we have here is $1.8 million in a line item. Haven't we already spent some of that? I mean, there's no accountability for $1.8 million. How can I make a logical decision? There's a whole group called the Depot Restoration Committee. Where's their input? I think this is trying to put numbers in boxes and get it done so we can say, it's done. But it's been 3 years before it even came to this commission, so I think we can slow our roll and figure out how to get some community input.
Don't have any comment on that.
Is this actually the first step in, I thought this was like the first step to getting that then?
I don't know where we are,
I'm not sure either. I'm not saying that I know.
but I'm being real clear where I think we need to go.
I was under the understanding that this was going to be like step one to get this put together, and then this is what we use to create a public hearing for.
It doesn't look much different than what we saw in May. I can't see where there's been much work done.
So, Mr. Chair, if you wouldn't mind, I could give a little bit of clarity.
Please.
So in May, our project was to create a list. That list was created. We met with administration and put numbers to the list. That's where we are today.
Yep.
Our next step is, if we're okay with the list, then we send it back to Roe and they package it up into a packet.
No, I'm not good
Which
with
comes
that.
back to, if you would let me talk, Ms. Everly, we bring it back to this commission to make the next decision on what we do next. But if you look at the previous packets back in May, in the example that we used, that packet was pretty thick. This is one piece of paper. This is a micro step to a macro project that we're working on. And yes, it has taken several years. I've actually requested this for over 7 years to be part of a RRC project that I've been working on for almost 10. So I'm thankful that we got this far. We're a long ways from being complete. I welcome the idea to get the public involved. I welcome the idea to get other commissions involved. I think it's great to collaborate like that. And if that's the desire of this commission, then that's what we send back to Roe. But today, what we're looking at is from the May packet, if you've done your homework, we prioritized a list, not in any special order, just a list of what we thought were projects that needed to be part of the capital improvement plan. That list then went back to administration, and they put in what they thought would be budgetary numbers to complete the projects. That's where we're at today.
Yep.
So now, if the commission is happy with what's in front of them, we send it back to Roe. They build a packet that is similar to the North Ranch one that was in your packets back in May and maybe even a couple meetings before that. And then we make a decision on what we do with that. If this, the wishes of the commission is to send out an invite to the public through our social media, our website, notifications, other notifications, that's the desire of the commission. There is no step-by-step process of how to do this, right? This is what was recommended by Roe, our planner, and this is the next step that they recommended we take.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
is a representative from Roe here today?
So I would like to welcome Amy. Amy is filling in for Alex. Amy recently joined the Roe team in July. Alex had prior engagements this evening, was unable to make it. So Amy is here as a representative of Roe.
So you had mentioned West Branch. Are you familiar with the case of West Branch?
North Branch.
North Branch.
I personally am not. In my years as being a planner, I've done CIP projects for the city of Brighton as well as the city of Owasso.
So what's your guidance? Do we, I
So
don't have that big.
I really am not totally up to speed on what you guys have
I
done
didn't give
thus
you a
far. Throughout the process of CIP, you can get public input after you've completed the project. You can get public input throughout the project. If you want to reach out to the public through surveys or something like that, sometimes you can also rely on your master plan. If you've recently done a master plan and got a lot of public input from that, sometimes you can draw projects out of that as well. So there's a lot of different ways to get public input throughout the CIP project. So if you are inclined to get additional public input in terms of possible project suggestions or something like that. So for instance, in the city of Brighton, we did a survey, and it was an online survey. It was notified to our residents through like our tax bill or our water bill, letting them know to go to this website. It was on our website at the time, inviting them to participate in the project, and I asked them some questions. And they were able to give us input on if there was any type of projects they wanted to see, so that we could discuss them and determine if any of them would make it into the actual CIP.
And you don't believe we're at that point right now, to Ms. Everly's point?
I'm not disagreeing with her. I'm just not sure of the process that you all established through this, and it sounds like it's kind of murky. So if you would like to go forward with some type of survey or something of that nature, you would just direct Roe to do that. And then that would be the next step. And then if the board decides through that, let's say an online survey, that there are some projects that you want to include in this list, then we would need to get dollar amounts for them, and then they would need to be prioritized as well. Does that answer your question?
So, sure.
I did notice when you said about the downtown needs restrooms, that's right on the list, number 5.
Yeah, $150,000.
Yeah, $150,000.
Plus 10,000 up here, that's almost 10%
But see,
of the
this
total
is
bond.
not, this isn't in order. This is just a list. This isn't in
In
order.
May, we talked about that, and I
Yeah.
was told that the depot would be moved, and a few years later, that building would be built. That's what was said in this meeting. A few years later, after the depot. Correct?
I'm not sure I said a few
Yes, you
years.
did.
Well,
I
I
thought-
doubt that everything can be done simultaneously, I might add.
Really?
What I'd like the public input from the people that we have already asked to sit on commissions and authorities and boards, because I don't have any faith in putting out a survey. We've done that in this community. It was lopsided and biased, and nobody believed the results of it. So I don't trust that. I think that we need to be bringing the people who have already committed to this community to the table to help, and maybe Roe is going to lead that discussion for us. But before we go spending a bunch of money to have Roe put together, how many pages of information for us, I personally would like public input before we invest a lot of money more in this process.
I would like to speak for a moment, just because, as to what Ms. Everly has stated, in the statement of purpose that we have, it literally says, we promote citizen participation. We are overlooking that step. I think that is one of the very first things that we should do is citizen participation. It actually says that we most importantly shall always serve the citizens of Holly, not the administration, not this board, the citizens of Holly, the people who live here, the people who are working here, the people, because this list right here, we might get something from the public that says, we don't see a need for refurbishing the lights and poles and garbage cans downtown, because we just spent a whole lot of money on Mr. Perkins, who painted the lights downtown. We don't need to do that again. So that might be something the public goes, not interested in that. We don't want that to happen. It is our job to reach out to our public and to our citizens and not reach out to ourselves or the administration, because honestly, our administration is going to be changing in the next 4 months. So if we go back to the administration and they're saying, oh, well, we want this and this and this, the new administration might be going, that is not what we need to do. We need to be focusing on D, E, and F instead of this A, B, and C that we have on this list. So it's something that we really need to look at citizen participation first before we go back to administration on anything.
All right, so with those two items being said between yourself and Cheryl Lynn was not saying public, she was saying the board members and the different people that are involved in the community, all right? So with all that being said, I understand trying to pull the different committees together, all right? And having a brain session per se, okay? At that stage, I really don't feel we need to have Roe involved in it. I feel it can just be an open meeting with that specific CPI on the agenda. And, I guess,
With the public invited?
well,
It would have to be because it's an open meeting.
it's open meeting act, so it's still an open
I
meeting.
just want to make that clear on the record. That's why I
Right.
said that. Thank you.
But with that said, all right, if you're saying with the rest of the public, as you're saying, we're in the recording, okay? And how would you propose into reaching the public to invite them versus it just being out on the website of Holly that I would say 80% of the people in Holly don't even read?
We have to go through, I would think, multiple channels of reaching out to the public via either Facebook, a lot of people are, our website, our, like, I don't remember your name, I'm so sorry, Amy? What Miss Amy said, on our water bills, a QR code, things like that, that can let people know that this is something that is going to be happening, and the public is welcome to join.
And that's where I'm saying, that's why we need to say that specifically, all right? So with all that said, in my opinion, that's going to cause budgetary numbers that council's going to have to approve for staff time to put together that type of item to move forward. So our recommendation would be to council to ask for a meeting to put together and advertisement for such an item.
We probably have to reserve the auditorium at the high school.
So if someone would like to then, I guess, make a motion in that regard, we can push that forward or make a recommendation to council.
Anybody else have any input? And does anybody else have any thoughts?
I
guess that's
would
just-
maybe say that a survey developed by Roe would be very different than a survey that we had recently. Be a professionally designed survey.
When we did the, can't think of the name of it now, Saginaw Road, when we did the
Charrette.
The
charrette,
The
all right.
design charrette.
The participation in the charrette was horrendous. So how that was reached out to and the results, I myself would not want to do that again just because of the results. Now, you can put out all different ways of doing it. The results might be the same, all right? But just like anything else, let's not repeat history and have the same results for what we've already tried.
Well, I did some research, and basically the last survey besides for the village offices that we did was in 2021, and it was done on a Survey Monkey. I don't know how it was distributed, and only 131 people from the village responded. Prior to that, 2020, we had an open house with 39 people, and prior to that, in 2007, was the last visioning session with a SWOT analysis, goals and objectives, and 12 people showed up. So from my study, we've had a grand total of 51, less than 200 people have any input in the last 17 years.
That's my point.
My question would be then how would we improve upon that? What would make this?
Which is why I was
Significantly
going with
different.
the commissions and the authorities and the people that are already in place, because you already have channels to invite people, and it can be a public meeting, and you could invite the public as well, but you would put it out, like, and it's not a violation of the Open Meetings Act to ask everybody to come and give their opinion about the future of the village.
I don't think that's what I
Communities
was
do it all
implying.
over. Well, it seems like every time we try to move forward with community input, that's one thing that always comes up, Open Meetings Act. And there's
I'm
lots of
saying
communities that do that.
that's why you would have to have the public, is because it
I didn't say we
is.
wouldn't, but what I was saying is the invitations would be sent, just like we get an invitation to our planning commission meeting. It would be posted and it would be open to the public. They don't all have to get an invitation for it to be an open meeting.
Do we have a cost factor that would need council approval to put it on the water bills?
I'd have to get you an answer on that. I would imagine it costs something, but, without
Printing
speaking.
a line,
Excuse me?
printing a line,
I don't have the authority to approve that. I could talk to administration and give you an answer.
there'd be no cost.
Mr. Chairman, we could make two motions, for instance. We could have one if there is a fee and they're not going to do it, we don't do it. And the other one would be, we just put out an invitation to the other commissions or committees to come forward with us. We don't have to send a survey out right now.
Well, yeah, and I don't think a survey is important at this point. I think we need to have the people involved, being the different commissions, to come together. And then, but our quandary is how to make the public aware of it so that they can attend if they knew about it.
I think Mr. Watson was discussing how we do have requirements for Open Meetings Act, and we just follow those. And I think the village actually goes above and beyond that, because we are posting it on social media and
Okay.
whatnot.
So I guess let's just make a motion to have a meeting with all boards for the staff to investigate a date that would be convenient for the committees involved.
I would suggest maybe a workshop,
Fine, follow whatever you
but I
want.
can definitely push it up the chain and see how much commitment and buy-in we get from the other commissions.
So if we could do that, please, that would be appreciated. And from that standpoint, then, to put it on the agenda for next month, that we have an answer on that, and how to post it and bring it to the light for the public.
My recommendation would be to request a agenda line item for each one of the commissions in the village. And then also, maybe we could do some social media blasts out through all of the different links that we have. I think Ms. Everly brought up a couple dates. I think some of the dates, especially '07, the power of social media was definitely not present then like it is today. So we could get a little bit more buy-in. We do have about 10 individuals in the room this evening that also, plus we weren't streaming live back then as well. So I think, putting our heads together in a professional way, I think we came up with some great suggestions. I will definitely take it to administration and see if we can get representation from, we have liaisons, if I'm not mistaken, on this commission. We have Mr. Kinnaman on council. I think we have somebody on the DDA. We have Ms. Campbell, or I'm not sorry, the DDA.
I'm on ZBA.
ZBA. So I would rely on those liaisons from this board to also take it back to their commissions and recommend their participation. So I definitely will take it to that next step. That's why we're here tonight with this piece of paper in front of us is what steps does this commission want to take next? So it wasn't to initiate an argument or any kind of controversy. This was strictly of what steps would this commission like to take next?
So let's move forward with,
Mr. Chairman, why can't we just set the meeting for our regularly scheduled meeting for next time we do it? If we're here a month from now, why not just set it during our time? We know our room's available. And say, if you guys can make it, or we just can kick the can down further.
We might be able to do like a workshop before the meeting.
People that work. That would be hard before that.
Do you
I
have,
don't know if we can do
Do you
a
know-
workshop during our agenda. That would be a
do you know of other items that may be coming?
We will have
next month?
another agenda item next month, along with the map correction. And without getting the cart ahead of the horse, we have representation this evening from Scooters. They would also like to come back next month. So, I will definitely be having a meeting next month, there's no question. I just don't know how it would align with having a workshop during the actual meeting. I think that a workshop and a meeting are two different things, so.
Do it on a Saturday. No,
Those
you
have
don't.
been typically, we've done,
I will
Well,
definitely
with
take it up the
council on
chain
a Saturday,
to administration and look for suggestions, and we'll have some sort of comments next month, if not sooner.
all right, so I guess put it up the chain to administration. And if you could please email this commission a response from administration of what we should expect.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, new business. First item on new business is new business 2024-002, consideration of rezoning from R1A, single-family residential, to commercial, or to C, which is commercial, for the property located at 604 North Saginaw, ID parcel 0134101002. All right, from that standpoint, if Roe would like to, I guess possibly do the presentation, or we could have the, Mr. Lau come up and speak before us.
Well, all I'm saying is, both sides of it is commercial.
All right.
I'm Bruce Lau,
Name and address, please.
4312 Laring Road in Holly. And I'm just saying, both sides are commercial, and I just want to make that piece in the middle that's residential, what both sides are. And I don't plan on doing anything, but I just think either person, like the barber shop, could combine that and they could make something, or the guy, Robert Montgomery, could take it and make more parking for him or something. But I just want to switch it from residential to commercial.
Okay,
That's all I got.
thank you, sir.
can I ask a question?
Sure.
Maybe, is someone still living in that property?
Yes.
So if we change it to commercial, does that change?
It would just be an existing nonconformity until either Mr. Lau decided to have a tenant change, demolish the building, package it up with another property for redevelopment. I can tell you that in other communities, when you're able to have a package deal of multiple properties, it's much more inviting to an investor to come into our community and redevelop that so that it has continuity with the thoroughfare of Saginaw, rather than being, as it sits now, a spot zone, which is kind of frowned upon in most planning commissions.
Question? This might be for the engineer. Alex's letter said a lot about neighborhood office commercial, and that those parcels are currently classified for future land use as neighborhood office commercial. I don't know how to reconcile, I'm the one that wants to keep things in conformity, you know, you don't want spot zoning, right? And now this, almost everything he wrote was about neighborhood office commercial, so are we supposed to make the change now? And I don't know.
Do you have any other questions, or would you like me to go over Alex's report?
Go ahead and go over Alex's.
Okay, so as the applicant stated, he's looking to rezone the property from residential to commercial. He did also state that the parcel to the north and the south of him are also zoned the commercial that he's looking to. I apologize, I'm covering from cold. That he's requesting, so it will be continuous throughout that street with the same zoning. In your packet, Alex did include the rezoning checklist for criteria when you're making a motion. Also stated in the letter is that unlike a special land use or a variance, you don't have to meet all of those requirements. They just give you a guidance on how to possibly look at a rezoning application. So for instance, like a variance, you must check all the boxes to approve something. A rezoning is not that strict of an application when it comes to the checklist. So with regard to Alex's point, he was saying that in the future land use map in your master plan, it does designate a lot of this area, basically the bulk of the street, as this neighborhood commercial office district, which is like a lesser intensity than your general commercial. It's not necessarily what you have out there currently, because you have a mix of commercial and industrial and some uses that are higher intensity and some that are less. But in your master plan, that was what you were envisioning. Now, another point that you also make in your master plan kind of conflicts with the map, and that says that you actually would like to re-examine the application of the neighborhood office commercial to the specific area, the Midtown area. So the master plan isn't a hold stone, it's a guidance document, right? So when you have things before you, you review it in compliance with these, but it isn't like you must follow this to a T, okay? It's a guidance document, and things change. What you were looking for and envisioning in an area 5 years ago can change over the course of that master plan. So the master plan, like I said, has it designated as a neighborhood commercial. So the applicant is requesting commercial, which is still in line with what is out there currently with the adjacent parcels. Let's see if there's anything else. The checklist also includes compatibility with the site's physical features and whatnot. It's our indication from the applicant that maybe there's a possibility of some packaging of parcels for possible redevelopment, since this parcel is rather small and probably would not really be enough space for a standalone commercial operation in terms of having to provide parking and landscaping and all of that. It really would have to be packaged with potentially the salon, maybe the abandoned laundry mat that would also need a rezoning. But maybe that could be a full site package. I will say from history, it is so hard to have that ability to package property that when you can do it, you run with it. If you're looking to be pro-development. Let's see what else in this checklist. Is there evidence that the applicant cannot reasonably use their property in the current state? No, he's currently using it as residential, but we understand his desire to make it conducive with the rest of the properties in the area. It is on a major thoroughfare. Your master plan does suggest that you try and limit your commercial to areas that have major street access so that you're not having traffic going through neighborhoods that would be to getting, going through a neighborhood to get to commercial use. It has infrastructure, it has sewer and water, it's on the main street, so it has nice traffic Accessibility, let's see, says, does the apparent demand for the type of use is permitted in the requested zoning district in the village amount to the land currently zoned, available for accommodating demand? The proposed zoning district is commercial, which is currently zoned along that street, so it's conducive with the rest of the area. The applicant has not submitted a request within the last year. Couple other things to point out from your master plan. You are looking to try and provide some flexible mechanisms to upgrade commercial sites. You're also trying to, as a planning commission, have an active role in the development of commercial and redevelopment of commercial property. This rezoning may potentially cause a redevelopment of those two adjacent parcels as well. So there are some different ways that you could go about this request. Like I said, the master plan is just a guidance document. I don't believe that we provide motions, so if you have any questions, then I'm happy to answer.
That answer your question, Cheryl? Anybody else have any questions? And then I guess before I move too far, before I lose my train of thought, Mr. Watson?
Sir?
If you look at the beautiful colors, your zoning, none of that area is colored commercial.
Just on mine. It's a little tiny thing, but
The one to
Wow.
the south is
on these ones there
It's
is.
basically that whole area right there is all green.
and it's this one.
Yeah, on that one, I think it is wrong.
Oh, yeah, this one is wrong.
Because on the full ones,
Oh, wait.
it is.
Oh, it's not.
So if you look at
This is
the,
North Valley. Oh, I see, up there, but aren't we talking,
We're talking between Thomas and Rosette, this area right here.
Yeah, it is.
the,
That
that's,
little pink is commercial.
so
this is Saginaw right here. And Thomas.
Mr. Montgomery's property is
I got you.
commercial.
Yeah.
He's got it labeled as yellow, which is, needs to be
Right
corrected.
here is the woodworking shop. Right here's the parcel in question. Right there's the barber shop.
Which is pink. Barber shop is pink.
It's pink, right?
And Mr. Montgomery's to the north
Oh, I didn't see
is also pink, but it doesn't reflect that on the map.
Just shows it's gray there.
Yeah, yeah, gotcha. I was looking at
And then if you look to the properties to the south of Thomas and to the west of the properties, those are also all commercial properties. So in reality,
Yeah, right.
the property that is circled is a spot zone residential.
Right now, on what is provided from rural though, it shows it as yellow.
That's Mr. Montgomery's, and we know that it just came in front of this board about probably less than 2 years ago. It looks like a error
Yeah,
that.
Mr. Montgomery's property needed to be rezoned to commercial so that he
This is what we're
could
talking
store the vehicles there,
Which
We did that, yeah.
which did happen, yes.
Rosette, not
Where was
right
that?
here.
Oh, you're right. This is the,
Right there's the barber shop.
Barber shop.
Right there's what we're talking about. Right, this one right here is the laundromat. That right there is the residential.
Yep.
Am I,
Complies with future plans too, right?
It's a map update that needs to be done.
And complying with the future.
yeah, right. I mean, it's pretty simple.
Pretty much fine with me anyway, right?
Yeah, no.
Just bring colored pencils next time.
there's the laundromat, and then there's the residential.
Look at that art.
So this is actually
Again.
get here, because we already know that's extended as commercial. Being used commercial, right, special zoning or rezoned commercial.
So this one could be good.
Yeah, and that's what happens, we have several parcels in the village, and, when these types of projects come up, we can find an error.
Right.
Similar with 815, so.
All right, so that aside, I just wanted to, as long as we're doing some changes.
Good?
All right, so with the request in front of us, All right. Does anybody have any other questions? And does anybody want to,
Mr. Chairman, yes. Just for the applicant, I looked up on, before the meeting, I looked up water usage at that property, and there's very little water. So someone is actively living there right now?
Mr. Lau, if you could go to the microphone, I apologize. Just because it carries on the TV for people that are watching at home.
Yes, there is a runner in there right now.
Perfect.
And I plan on keeping it just like that until somebody on either side needs more land. And I just want it to be the same as what theirs is.
And that won't be a problem if this renter moves out and it's empty?
There'll be another one put in there.
But he said if this, then you lose your,
You cannot put a residential unit back in there if this
Okay.
person leaves.
if
Once that
person-
one leaves,
That's not true.
Is that what
Oh,
you
that's
said?
what I
That is not correct.
interpreted what
So it
you
can
had
stay
said.
commercial and they can continually re-rent it?
Yeah,
You just cannot
existing
redevelop, you
non-conforming.
cannot make modifications to the rental or to the residential unit and make additions, modifications. It would stay the same. It would be an existing nonconformity.
Okay, oh, perfect. Excellent then.
yeah, I'm not changing anything.
Okay, thank you, sir.
but once anything has been done to the property, then no, it cannot
Okay.
be used for residential.
Thank you for clarifying.
Or if it changes ownership. Does that change it? If it changes ownership?
No, ownership does not change it. It would stay still non-conforming until it was changed to
Okay,
commercial use.
okay.
Any other questions? Does anybody have a motion?
Make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to recommend approval for the rezoning at parcel number 0134101002 from R1A Single Family Residential to C Commercial.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Haskala?
Yes.
Campbell?
Yes.
Lacy?
Yes.
Wallace? Yes. Everly?
Yes.
Kinnaman?
Yes.
Christian?
Yes.
Okowski?
Yes. All right. Moving on to new business 003, consideration for a site plan review for the property located at 15191 North Holly Road, parcel ID IH 0127151016.
Well, Mr. Chair, if you don't mind, I would like to make a couple comments before we move forward with this new business item. As you know, the packet shows a two-page document with multiple errors. I usually don't bring these in front of the commission with that kind of package. But Mr. Jake Vaughn is in the building this evening. He is aware of the corrections. He's looking forward to be postponed this evening so that his team can come back to this board next month with all the corrections in place with Rose review. So if you would welcome him to the podium, Mr. Jake Vaughn. He would like to just spend a couple minutes to introduce himself and the property. And his wife, Ms. Long.
Yeah. Name and address, please.
Jake Vaughn, this is my wife Sarah Vaughn. Address, we're in Clarkston. You want the full address?
You need to state it for the mic.
Okay, 6168 Foxfire Circle, Clarkston, Michigan. We did live in the township of Holly 10 years, so we're familiar with the area. It's new business venture. I'm a contractor, my wife's a teacher, and we've been looking for a couple years to get into something we can do together, and we found this. The core values of Scooters kind of align with us personally, and that's why we chose them to be as a franchisee. And we put a package together, and Roe, for the review, gave some comments back, and that's what we're working on, and look forward to next month to review that. This is a new process for us, so that's why we wanted to be here tonight to see how this all goes, so.
All right. And I understand the desire to postpone, but I do have one question regarding paperwork that I was looking at. it was very unclear in the plan of the parcel of the outlot that's being requested to be built on, okay? And nor, even though it said with question mark of ownership of said property. So,
It's, we're not looking for a lot split or anything like that. It's a ground lease with the existing owner.
okay,
That answers your
so
question.
basically, the ownership, since it's not gonna be then subdivided, is that just then part of their lease agreement when it comes then to property responsibilities and liabilities?
Yeah, actually, it makes it a lot easier when the property owner actually holds all of the property, because then you wouldn't need easement documents, you wouldn't need maintenance agreements that you would typically have when you have an outlot situation. So since the shopping center owner is maintaining all the property and they're just leasing it, it actually makes it a lot cleaner in terms of what they need.
Okay, so then, I guess the only other question I had, just so that he has the ability to address almost everything, would be the parking space requirements, taking into reflection of the counts required for the other establishments, in addition to their new establishment, how many spaces are actually being eaten up by that to what's really left to then combine to the grand total.
Right, one of the things that we asked for in our checklist was some additional information on that existing building, so that we can really drill down in that parking calculation to determine if it's, how it's being calculated, are the uses correctly? I hear there's a vacant garden center, I'm not sure if that is part of the calculations. So we requested more information
Yeah,
on
it'd be
that.
square footage of the building,
Yeah.
basically.
And I remember that there were preliminary prospective type drawings brought before us from the landowner about the idea of something being placed in this location, and included the development of the garden center area into parking, which was necessary in order to account for lost spaces.
But part of that garden center area is also their drainage, it's their retention pond.
Back in the corner, yes.
Right.
Mhm. I think, well, that was in the drawings that were brought to us. They weren't taking out the buildings even. It was just the flat spaces were being basically paved as additional parking lot
But it's a retention pond.
back in the corner.
Right. So are you talking about paving over the retention pond?
No,
Okay.
the garden center area itself is a
But
large
this isn't
flat
even near the
area.
garden center. You
It-
would only need that for calculation of parking if it was an actively used facility, right? It's basically like an open garden space.
So,
It's the,
Excuse me.
so the plan before you does note that the spaces that are being removed for scooters will actually result in the site being deficient in parking.
Okay.
So we requested some additional information about that back building so that we can determine, in fact, is that the case? And if so, do they need a variance? And if so, for how many? And is the garden center part of this parking calculation? We don't know that at this time because
Right.
it doesn't spell it out on the plan.
'Cause, yeah.
So
Right,
hopefully.
that was my question, so they knew how to
Right, so
address
hope-
their engineering, so
Yeah.
that you're not going back and forth another time, so that we can get everything
Right.
cut and dry.
Yeah. So,
Just my other concern with your plan is the traffic coming in and out of there. The main entrance into the grocery store, you know, if I was making a right turn from Saginaw Street, your folks are coming out of scooters. So if I'm gonna make a turn, somebody's coming this way, you're gonna have to be watching for an awful lot of traffic. And it just really, and there wasn't any clear indication of what the south entrance exit looked like at all. I couldn't figure it out.
Okay.
But that would be part of all Rose
Yep,
submittal
I'm just throwing
also.
that out there, because you're
Yep.
gonna spend money, and if you know that's my concern,
Sure.
All right, so with that, do we need to make a motion for then postponement?
I'll make a motion to postpone the consideration for the site plan review at the property located at 15191 North Holly Road, parcel ID IH01-27-151-016, which is also 2024003, consideration for postpone to our next meeting to allow the applicant to shore up his application.
Do we need to say next meeting if the work's not done? So
We're just gonna postpone.
Postpone, sorry. So noted.
Okay.
I second.
Roll call, please.
Kinnaman,
Yes.
Everly,
Yes.
Christian,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Cascola,
Yes.
Lacy,
Yes.
Wallace, Wolfensky.
Yes. The only other thing
Look
I
forward to
guess I
seeing you
didn't say
next.
officially was lighting.
What's that, I'm
The
sorry?
lighting,
Lighting, yeah.
because where the building is going to be located, we'll be taking down some of the parking lot light as it is, and then that takes away the photo looms for the area, so.
And don't forget,
More
the
stuff to think about.
questions are free, so he's a great resource.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about
Yes.
Mr. Watson over there. So he's a great resource, so
So I would tell you that Mr. Vaughn and I, we've been corresponding on this project for close to a year, I believe.
Yes.
And we're finally almost there, ready to cross the finish line. So we've been in extensive conversations over the last year.
I hope you're charging him.
Well, Roe is.
Questions?
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to new business, last item. We need that was requested to be postponed, correct? No, that's already been
Yeah.
done.
Yes.
Yeah, we already tabled it for next time.
Mr. Chair, I would, if we haven't already, I don't believe we did make a motion to postpone that due to the clerical error of not listing both
Okay.
properties. And also it's not going from our residential to commercial. It's going from residential to moderate residential density, which is clearly a clerical error on the map and not in Oakland County taxes or in the village system. It does show that it's already multifamily in all those systems. It's an error.
All right, so get a recommendation or a motion to postpone to clerk.
One item, Mr. Chairman. Have we pulled, or has staff pulled through the file to actually confirm that?
Actually, I wrote a zoning compliance letter to the individual that was looking to purchase the property. And that's when we found the error on the map.
Cheryl Lynn?
I would just like to say in the notice, I really think it should say that the Village of Holly is requesting a rezoning. Because, to the point, these people came all scared, didn't know what was going on, who's buying it. And all of our other notices indicate who's asking. That's all I'm saying, it's transparency.
And maybe even to specifically say, to correct a clerical error, so
Exactly.
that we are not having, like you said, and, you know,
They had no
they're
idea.
thinking they're going to tear that down and build something else in there.
I'm sure administration could change the verbiage.
Absolutely. Our error, my error, I apologize.
So again, we need a motion to,
I'll make the motion to postpone item number 2024004 to a future date.
I will second.
roll call, please.
Christian,
Yes.
Lacy,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Cascola,
Yes.
Wallace. Yes. Everly,
Yes.
Kinnaman,
Yes.
Wolfensky.
Yes. All right, flipping the agenda over to item number 10, training, which we have none of tonight. Moving on to reports, ZBA.
Haven't been there forever and a day.
So they have
I
had
missed meetings
lack
if
of
I
meetings,
did.
or-
It's been,
okay.
I don't know.
I don't believe we have anybody on DDA. I know that we're looking for a new individual.
I went to the meeting. Nick Klimp, as everyone knows, has resigned. He has a new job. So they will be looking for a new DDA director. They do have one citizen at large and one business owner that they will need for on their board. And right now, it's just for ladies' night out is in November. and they're just doing one night instead of the weekend that like they had last year. It was, a lot of people liked it more with having just the one ladies' night out instead of ladies' weekend.
Okay,
So that's all that I know right at the moment.
thank you.
I
You're
do think
welcome.
that's also the Roper romp on that night as well. The Roper romp
Oh, okay.
is combining with the ladies' night out with the DDA.
Oh, okay.
That'll be interesting to have a lot of Mrs. Ropers throughout the village.
Thank you.
Sounds terrifying.
All right, council.
As we know, we also have a couple of contracts expiring the end of the year for our village manager as well as our clerk treasurer. And as a council, we have begun that process. For the village manager, we have partnered with the MML to do the initial search for us and bring us back their recommendations on a couple of candidates to interview. The clerk treasurer position is going to be actually handled in-house, and the job posting for that has begun, I believe.
It has.
Anything else?
Those are the big things with council right now.
Okay. Parks Commission, do we have anybody on that? I don't think we do. I do know that the Bush Lake Beach there, they did do some renovations to the building structure, replace the outside facade of the structure to get rid of the rot that was around the building, and it looks very nice. And I was quite pleased with how expediently they took care of that. So I guess now we'll start down at the other end down there. Angela, do you have any staff comments?
I guess my two, I just wanted to thank you for acknowledging Bill's passing and making everyone in the public aware of why we do have an opening. My second thing is I just have a question about the Meet the Candidates night that the chamber is putting on. That is the same night as the Halloween, and it's also the same night as the last Parks Board meeting, so we have to, sorry. My question would be about the chamber's Meet the Candidates night that is going to be held at the high school, I do believe, in the auditorium. That is the car show with the Halloween that night, and it's also the last night of the Parks Board meetings for this year. So that's concerning that we have so many people that will not, they're going to have to decide which one they want to go to, because that is such a well-attended event downtown, and there's a conflict there. So I just want that to be put out there. And also, what's going on with the Stash Cannabis building? And do we have any inclination of what's going to be happening with the old Rite Aid building? That's my concerns.
Would you like me to answer any of those, or would you like me to wait?
Might as well answer while it's on the table.
Fair enough. Stash is moving forward. When we did a deep dive into the plans that were submitted, and I believe it was July, it could have been the end of June, we found that the underground retention pond that went in front of this committee, this commission, was undersized. So it is back at the drawing board to properly size that with the recommendation of the Oakland County Drain Commission. So I did talk to them most recently last week. They're hoping to have those plans resubmitted back to the village in the very near future. As you can see, they got the fence up, they got the excavator there. It's been there for a minute. I thought we would have got the plan sooner, but we are unfortunately waiting on Oakland County Drain Commission, Water Resource Commission to approve that underground water storage system that will fit the capacity of a 100-year flood. As far as Rite Aid, there has been a ton of social media traffic, and as you know, Facebook's always true along with social media. There is no plans that have been submitted to the village office on any type of redevelopment. I can tell you I've received at least 4 different phone calls of potential investors. But at this time, without any plans submitted and prompting rumor mill, we'll just wait until we have something submitted to see what's going to go there.
One question also about the, where Stash is going to be, that gate is open.
Yeah.
So that might be something we need to look at because that's going
It
to
will
draw
be
children or
secure
adolescents.
once they start working, but they
Okay.
left it open because they thought the Water Resource Committee was going to meet on site and do a little bit deeper dive in the investigation. So that's why it's open. I do close it every now and again, and then it opens back up, so we can't lock it,
Yeah.
because then it'd be a conflict with the other teams that need to meet out there and just logistics of a key holder.
Okay, I was just concerned about youth and children being able to get in there and really climbing on that piece of equipment. It is a liability.
Sure.
Carolyn?
Well, my one question about Stash is, are we gonna look for the mastodon bones while we're digging there? I was recently contacted by a friend who is really into the Historical Society. There's actually a mastodon jaw at the Hadley House Museum. They excavated about 2.5 feet down when they built Johnson Pontiac, and they found the jaw. They contacted Ann Arbor, U of M, but nobody ever came out and dug up the rest of it. So I'm not going to ask for anything extraordinary, but if you could just throw that out to them when they start digging, that, you know, thank.
Yeah, so
just-
we did share the article, and I want to say it was back, don't quote me on the date, but I want to say it was 40s, maybe even the 30s, when U of M was out. I did read the article.
Yeah.
It was very interesting. We did let the investors know and the developers that when they are digging, if they dug slow. But, you know,
Yep.
we don't have control over that. But I imagine if they did find that, it would probably pay for their investment.
The other question I have, and I hope you know the answer to this, Jeremy, are they really going to close the exit to the school from East Holly Road? And is all the school traffic going to have to the new middle school? The new middle school looks like they're going to close the street off of Maple Street, so everything is going to be going up and down Sherman Street.
Well, I can't answer that because they don't submit plans to this commission or to the village. It is a state property project.
Well, can't we knock on their door and say, hey, you know, before, or is it just too late? I guess I should look
I
at you.
can tell you what I think from
Yeah.
what I understand. It is going to be open because the parking lot that was the gym parking lot
Right,
is going to be a larger parking lot, and that will be the parent parking lot.
okay.
And that East Holly Road will come down and end there.
Okay.
And Sherman Street will come down and end there. It will not be a pass-through intersection any longer. That is what I have been told.
I just want to correct one thing. You said East Holly Road will end there. It's not East Holly Road, it's East Road.
East Street, I'm sorry, East
Yeah, no,
Street,
just so
yes.
everybody doesn't get
Yes.
upset that, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, we're closing East
Yes,
Holly.
it's
Yeah, we
it's
never
East
said that.
Street that comes down there.
Well-
And
Because my
part of-
concern is that there's not even sidewalks on Sherman Street. Once you get past Cogshell, there's not even sidewalks. And we're talking about running buses and traffic up and down streets that were designed in the 1800s. I really think the school owes it to the community to make sure there's another way to get in and out of there.
I would ask that you would go to a school board meeting and suggest those same comments so that it also shows your concern. We don't have any say or,
Well, see, this is where
it's a
This
state.
is where I have a problem, because our administration should have been at the table with the school when they were no, I'm not
It's not
saying in an
our domain.
official capacity, I'm saying as partners in the community. When they were planning this huge of a project, someone should have been representing us and our traffic patterns, fire safety, how people are gonna get in and out. That is not illogical to expect a community to work together.
and that would be on the schools to extend an invitation to the table.
No, it is on this administration to say, we know you're building a new school and we'd like to sit at the table and have a voice.
And I did sit at that table personally as a representative of the fire department, but I was not asked to sit there in the building capacity.
And are you okay with there only being access to that middle school off of those tiny little streets as from your fire perspective?
Per the NFPA code, all I need is a 30-foot lane.
Okay. I just want to reiterate the importance of community input, because when mistakes get made, we pay for them. Whether we pay for them in the wear and tear on our neighborhoods, like we're seeing with the Venue 111, whether it's going to be people running up and down Coggeshall Street, roads that weren't intended for this building that barely meets the requirements for a community. I mean, I'm really frustrated that we just keep acting like this is only my responsibility and I can't talk to anybody else. It doesn't serve the public. Thank you.
I just have one comment on that. On East Street, the DPW has been taking, like, doing the snow removal, making sure there's not holes and filling those and things. So if that is turned into a private street for the schools only, does that mean DPW is not going to be doing that anymore? Has anybody approached that with Brian Klossner, the administration, and how that is going to be done? Because if that is not open to the public as a street, DPW should not be using our resources as taxpayers to do the upkeep on that street.
From what I understood, the upkeep on that street was part of the agreement in the village being in Carl Richter. The street from Baird Street to Saginaw Street, or not Saginaw, Sherman Street, the S Street, is actually private property. The school district has always owned that. And from what I understood, there was a time years ago, and I wasn't here at that point, that they actually had a gate at the
No,
Baird Street
No.
end.
never. Never. I've been driving those streets
Okay.
my whole life. Never was there a gate there.
All right,
But it is private property. It is school district property.
So school district will continue to do the maintenance and everything on it?
And it will, that I don't know. But I
And
know
is that
that,
something that we
I
can
know
check out?
that that was part of the agreement with the village being there.
Right, and correct, the village isn't there anymore, so we need to make sure that the DPW is not responsible any further to upkeep a private road that the school owns, and the school will not let the private citizens drive on. Because DPW shouldn't have to upkeep that. We're no longer in Carl Richter.
Jim.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Nick going was a huge devastation, I think, here. I'm going to miss Nick, so goodbye, Nick, and hope you're well. The point about getting together and the transparency, especially for our capital improvement plan, I think it is going to be important for us to at least extend the invitation and say, hey, who on these other commissions want to come with us? The whole debacle of what happened with the trees and the apparent appearance of folks not working together, I think people did work together, it just wasn't all lining up as what people thought. I think this will go a long way for that transparency issue.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Richard?
We have a Meet the Candidates event the chamber is hosting
Microphone?
next month, huh?
I can't hear you.
We do have a Chamber of Commerce Meet the Candidates event next Wednesday, October 2nd. It begins at 6 p.m. It is at the auditorium at the high school. I have several candidates. I have a good number of candidates that have responded at this point that they will be able to be attending that. It was a date that I was able to secure on multiple calendars that worked. I understand that it is with other events in the community. I also know that it's the same night that Fenton is doing one, and that the state senator or the senator's race also has a televised debate that same night, from what I understand. How the things that I've seen. There are a lot of things that conflict with everything. I chose a date that worked and went with it. I'm sorry there are conflicts that still remain. We also have our annual car show that will take place out at Mount Holly on October 12th. We do have another event that we are holding at the Brandon Township Public Library because we are a regional chamber at this point. And we are hosting an event there with a representative from the Michigan Chamber to come and speak to businesses about the effects of the Supreme Court, Michigan Supreme Court decision that affects the wages, tips, and paid leave, and where that is for businesses. That event, you can find those things on the chamber website.
Is that it?
That'll be it.
I really don't have anything to say.
Josephine?
Thank you.
Not really, but I really don't, I haven't been here forever. Do miss Nick, that's, amazing for him, congratulations to Nick for his new position, wherever that is, and we're gonna miss him for sure, because he did everything in Holly. Miss Bill, of course, still bummed about that. I think we have a ZBA meeting coming up soon, possibly.
Maybe.
So I might even have a report next time, so that'd be amazing. And I think that's it. I will be definitely missing the Meet the Candidates thing, because I'll be at the car show. I do donuts. So,
Sure.
so. That's it.
No, thank you.
I will say the intent is to record and then post. The last one we did a couple of years ago to try and broadcast it live had some glitches, and I feel safer doing a record and post.
Thank you. All right, staff?
First of all, I'd like to apologize for the errors on the agenda this evening. That is my fault, and I would like to own that. Secondly, my comment is this map in your packet for scooters. Do so kindly, if you see it on the agenda for next month, bring it back, just to save on trees. We greatly appreciate it. And then anything else that's submitted to scooters, we will include in the new packet. But I do ask that you bring in the old one. Okay? Other than that, I would like to thank everybody for their participation.
Can I comment? Happy fall.
Happy fall, okay.
Summer is over.
I guess regarding
Guess
the traffic on Maple, East Holly Road, I do feel with the traffic that is currently there, at times is exorbitant and hard to navigate. Makes people coming out of side streets sit for quite a long time to get an opening. And when the middle school does open, I can hardly imagine what the traffic will be like. I do think that you will see lots of people trying to cut through Elm to East to get around, which is then a left-hand turn onto that road. And I think, I just hope that we're going to have to really, I guess, put in traffic lights and things like that, because otherwise we're going to have issues with accidents and pedestrian safety issues. Hopefully, there's things and plans that I'm unaware of that's just not seen yet. But I really feel that from an outside looking in, it does not look good as just an outsider. So, other than that, I didn't have any other comments. The only other thing I would like to try to say is I feel tonight some of the comments got pointed and heated. I would rather not see that. I don't want to make this forum everything come through the chair before you can speak. I would like it to be more relaxed, but if we keep up with tones and things that are not acceptable, I will go to that type of handling of the meeting.
May I say something real quick about your traffic issue?
Yes.
Coming down, I live on the corner of Cogshell and Baird. I can tell you right now, when the plant is getting out, the railroad workers are working on the railroad, all the school already, the traffic right there. The other day, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, the traffic was so bad, nobody could make a left-hand turn. Holly L was getting out. The traffic was all the way back to my house, to the stop sign, of people trying to get out of Cogshell to East Holly Road.
And the same thing with the high school when they let out and the traffic coming out of there, coming back in the town.
Yes,
because
sir.
of all the
Yes.
teenagers driving, it's horrendous. Anyway, from all that said, we do have a public comment at the end, if anybody would like to get up and speak. All right, with that, we're adjourned.